When investors come on board, they often require founder shares to be on a vesting schedule. This means founders technically don't fully own their equity immediately, and they earn it over time by staying with the company. Hi, I'm Preksha from Campus Fund, and today we're explaining founder vesting in investment agreements. This is a part of our larger series where we demystify all the legal jargon that you see in your term sheets and transaction agreements. So let's dive in. First of all, what is founder vesting, right? So, a vesting schedule essentially ties founder equity to continued involvement with the company. So, the shares that a founder owns are earned gradually over a period of 4 years, typically. It's also important to note that a vesting schedule is typically reset at each major funding round. So, in early stage rounds, 100% of the founder shares are usually subject to vesting, while from series A onwards, founders may receive an upfront 10 to 20% vesting allocation, which is also called a liquidity basket, right? So, a standard structure for a vesting schedule for any founder is that it's basically a 4 year vesting period with a 1 year cliff. So, cliff means zero shares vest in 1 year with you, and if the founder stays through year one, 25% vests immediately, and the remaining 75% can vest monthly or quarterly over the next few years, right? So, if you're a founder and you own 40%, 10% gets vested to you right at the end of year one, and the remaining 30% gets vested slowly over the next 3 years. So what happens if a founder leaves, right? So if they leave before the cliff, right, all the shares are returned to the company and they get nothing. If they leave after the cliff, whatever is vested to them they get, but the unvested shares are returned to the company. But in certain situations, like an acquisition or something else, an accelerated vesting can be done as well. So, now coming to why investors require a clause like this in the first place, right? So, essentially, this is like an incentive alignment with the investor risk and the ability for a company to reallocate unvested or clawed back shares to replacements or future hires if a founder exits, so that it creates incentives for others to take on challenging roles and deliver results, right? So if you as a so what it also does is it protects investments if the founder quits early. It ensures that founders remain committed long term, and ultimately it also prevents departing founders from retaining large stakes while they're not contributing to the growth of the company, right? So if a founder leaves, their unvested shares come back to the company so that in the future a new co-founder could be hired and that person's incentives could be aligned with the right amount of equity. There is also this clause called reverse vesting where founders already hold shares but they are subject to companies repurchase rights for unvested portions. When it comes to best practices, you should always negotiate for acceleration clauses. They could be based on single or double triggers. You could also consider partial acceleration on exit events, and you should ensure that fair treatment is done for all the co-founders. Ultimately, vesting aligns long-term commitment of the founders with equity ownership, right? It's a very standard practice in venture deals. It's not a new thing. It's not a lack of trust, but it's like a protection layer for everyone on the cap table. So yeah, that's all that you need to know about the vesting schedule. If you have any other questions, do let me know and I'll be happy to answer them in the comments for you. And stay tuned because next week we'll have another video demystifying the legal jargon for you.